Is that you, Charles?
Just who were you expecting? Well, honey, you didn't have to wait up for me. I told you I was going to be late. What's the matter?
Betty's not home yet. I'm beginning to get a little worried.
Well, where'd she go?
I don't know. She and Bud went out about 8 o'clock, you know, their graduating class party.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, this isn't like it's something that happens every day. This is a big event in their lives.
I know, but I thought surely they'd be home before this.
The last week of high school. The little butterflies have come out of their cocoons. They're trying their wings.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Oh, well, as long as she's with Bud Wesley, I'm not going to worry for a moment. Oh, now tell me, just how do I look?
Handsome. Absolutely handsome. Well, you see it on Betty. Oh, you want to be sure and get a color picture.
Yeah, I will tomorrow. Show you something. Think she's going to like that?
Oh, Charles, but that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Oh, look on the back. It's got the name and the dates and see.
Oh, she's going to be thrilled to death. Just beautiful.
You know, I was just thinking. A few short years ago, we were taking her off to the first grade.
Yeah.
Now she's all through high school. Well, that is all except the...
Oh, quick.
Yeah. Put that... Get it away. Wait.
Good. Fine. Oh, that's all right.
Mr. Thompson?
Yes?
Charles Thompson?
That's right.
What is it?
You have a daughter, Elizabeth Thompson?
Has there been an accident?
Oh, where is she? Tell me.
I don't know any right way to say this, Mrs. Thompson. There never is one. She's... Well, she was dead on arrival at the hospital.
Oh. Oh,
The boy died on the operating table. If you could, sir, I'd like to have you come with me.
Huh? Yes, of course. I'll go with you.
I want to go too.
No.
Yes. I want to be near her. Wait for me.
Good to see you.
Oh, Chief, I want you to meet Burton Wesley, father of the boy that was killed in the accident with Betty.
How do you do?
How do you do, Chief?
I wish we could have met under other circumstances. Won't you sit down?
Thank you.
Pull up a chair, Charles.
All right, thanks.
Well, gentlemen, what's on your mind?
Well, Chief, we got to comparing notes. We just wondered how extensive an investigation there was after the accident.
Well, it was a complete investigation. It was thorough. I'd say it was very thorough.
But I understand the truck driver wasn't even held.
That's right, he wasn't.
Chief, it just doesn't make sense. Now, my boy was a good driver. He never had an accident of any kind. He was a better driver than I am, frankly. Well, it just doesn't make sense that he would drive along at high speed and plow into the rear end of a truck.
Chief, did they check to be sure the truck had the proper lights?
We checked.
Maybe the truck pulled out from the side of the road at the last minute.
No. According to our investigation, the truck was legally stopped at an intersection, and it was properly equipped with all running lights.
Well, now, wait a minute. Maybe that truck driver turned the lights on after the accident.
The point is, Chief, there's got to be a reason. Now, as I said before, my boy was a good driver, a fine driver. Now, you just can't sit there and tell me that he would go out and drive like crazy for no reason at all.
No, I didn't say there was no reason.
Well, if there is a reason, that's what we want to find out. Chief, have you been holding out something on us?
I saw no reason to make this public. As a matter of fact, I didn't even want to tell you to. But I suppose you have a right to know.
Well, we most certainly have.
All right. Your son should not have been driving a car. He was drunk.
What?
And so is your daughter, Charles.
What are you saying?
That's a lie. That's a lie, and you know it.
It's all in the medical report, and facts don't lie.
That's got to be wrong. They were just a couple of kids. Bud was only 18. Betty was just 17.
Now, what's age got to do with it these days?
No, it's not true. No, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong.
It's not a question of my being wrong, Charles. It's not my personal opinion. I'm merely telling you what the medical report shows.
Doesn't make sense. There's something awfully wrong here somewhere.
I'll agree with you on that. There's something awfully wrong somewhere. These youngsters graduate from high school and they want to celebrate. Somebody produces a bottle and they're all set. Just like that.
It's just hard to believe.
But it's a fact. It's the same old drama played over and over again. Every year with a different cast. Except me. And I'm the one who has to tell them. And you don't know how much I hate to tell them. Because all I can say to the parents is, I'm sorry.
But I thought there was a law in this state to prohibit the sale of alcohol to minors.
Well, there is. And we do our best to enforce it. But we can't be every place at once.
Is it possible there could be a mistake about the medical report?
Hardly.
Alana, you just said that this happens every graduation time. Well, why don't you put forth a special effort to enforce the law to be sure that no one does sell alcohol to minors?
Charles, there's over 50,000 juveniles in this county. And there's several 100,000 bottles of liquor. Now, how many men would it take to make sure that none of these two ever got together?
I don't know. All I know is that somewhere in this county there's a man that sold a bottle of liquor to Betty and to Bud, and I'm going to find that man if it's the last thing I ever do.
You can count me in on that, too.
And when I do find him, Chief, what are you going to do with him?
Well, that'll be up to the court, of course. Maybe they'll fine him. They might even suspend his license for 30 or 60 days. Maybe even 90 days.
What? That is the penalty for cold-blooded murder?
Charles, selling alcohol to a minor is not the same as murder, at least not in the eyes of the law.
I don't know how the law look at it, but this is the way I look at it. When I find that man, he's going to lose a lot more than his license for 90 days, and that I'll guarantee you.
Now, Charles, take it easy. I can appreciate how you feel, but none of this is going to change what's gone on already. Besides, how do we know that somebody sold those youngsters a bottle of liquor? Maybe they got some older person to get it for them.
Whether he sold it to them or gave it to them, what difference does it make? I'm going to find him, Chief. I'm going to track him down if it takes every minute of my life and every dime I own. That man's going to pay. Oh, he's going to pay.
Thank you.
How old are you, young lady?
What business is that of yours?
Have you ever seen that girl?
No. Do you mind?
Come in, Chief.
Good evening, Charles.
I'll take it.
Fine, thank you. Hello, Miss Thompson.
Good evening, Mr. Byer. You know Herbert Jackson of the Daily News?
Yes.
Chief.
Mr. Wesley.
We've met.
And Mr. Bell, my pastor.
How do you do, Chief?
Well,
Please sit down.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I'll make some coffee.
Oh, honey, I wish you'd stay. I think you might have some ideas from a woman's point of view.
All right.
Oh, here, dear, sit here. I'll tell you why I've asked you to come here tonight. A representative of the church, the press, and the city government. 3 weeks ago, I started out to find the man who sold or gave a bottle of liquor to my daughter Betty and to Bud the night they were killed. Well, I have to admit, frankly, gentlemen, that I've been bumping my head against a stone wall. Now, I'm not a prohibitionist or anything like that, but I have found out a few things. There's an awful lot of alcohol being sold to minors. And what's more, there's a regular conspiracy. I've run across any number of people who are afraid to talk. Well, I think it's high time something be done about it.
so that's what we're up against. We have just so many men, and there's just so much work we can do. And as Herbert pointed out, the men just can't be in two places at once.
I agree with you on one thing. This has got to be a community responsibility. We can't leave it entirely to the police. We must get public opinion aroused.
Gentlemen, may I say something? I wonder if we've been facing this problem squarely.
Well, what do you mean by that, Wes?
Well, I feel we should face the whole problem and at least be honest with ourselves. I think the real problem is not confined to selling liquor to minors. As long as we have the legalized sale of alcohol in our community, what can we expect?
Well, Mr. Wesley's right, gentlemen. It isn't only minors who drink and drive. There's no age limit to this daily tragedy.
Dr. Bell, we have a law against selling alcohol to minors, and as long as you want to work on that angle, I'm with you all the way. But if you gentlemen are going to start a crusade or something against the legalized sale of alcohol, well, I don't know.
Well, Chief, it seems to me that if a giant octopus were threatening my family or the community, I'd want to reach out and kill the octopus, not just chop off one of his arms.
Even if you were right, we'd never get to first place if we start an all-out campaign opposing everything. We won't get any sympathy at all.
Yes, I'm afraid I agree. Now, a lot of us like to take a sociable drink now and then. I think we should learn to crawl before we walk.
Well, I'm not an expert octopus killer. I suppose if something is choking you to death, that any damage you do to it is good. Is that the idea, gentlemen?
Well, that could be the first phase of it.
I suggest we cross the next bridge when we come to it.
Mrs. Thompson, you haven't said much this evening. How do you feel about this? From the woman's standpoint.
Well, I'm afraid I'd have to agree with my pastor. I mean, what difference does it make, really, if alcohol is sold to minors and they have an accident? Or maybe they're just crossing a street and a drunken driver runs them down. Does it make any difference because the driver is an adult? Is it any less of a tragedy?
No, honey.
Well, is it?
Well, no. Oh, it isn't any less of a tragedy. But let's not start down a blind alley. Let's do it my way, gentlemen. Let's track down and lock up all of these guys who are selling alcohol to minors. Maybe I can get somebody to talk. Because I don't care what it takes. I'm going to find the man who sold that bottle to Betty and to Bud. Now, here's what we need. We need an organized campaign. So the first thing we have to do is to get other people interested in this idea so that we can promote a campaign. Then we need to coordinate our publicity. And third, each one of us can promote the idea in our own area.
I agree.
Good. Sounds good to be here. Come in, Charles.
Hi, Chief.
You know Mr. Lewis?
I most certainly do.
He's made some pretty serious charges against you.
Oh?
He says that you deliberately trapped him into selling liquor to a minor.
Well, that's ridiculous.
That you came into his place and got him embroiled into an argument about baseball.
Is there any law against that, Chief?
No, but there is a law against entrapment. The actual plotting to induce a man to commit a felony.
Was it my suggestion that he sell a drink to the girl?
No. But you planned it that way, didn't you? You had to come in and had her face turned the other way knowing I'd sell her a drink without even thinking about it.
All right, there you are, Chief. Next thing you know, you'll be selling drinks to 10-year-olds.
Now, look, mister. You get a girl like that who comes in with lots of makeup. Even when you look right at her, it's difficult to tell her age.
Why didn't you ask her age?
I just didn't think about it.
If you didn't keep that place of yours so dark, maybe you could tell whether you were serving drinks to kids or not. Kids that might go out on the highway and get themselves killed.
Now, that's enough, Charles.
I'll say it's enough. You've got an open and shut case against this guy, and what's more, I can give you 3 qualified witnesses. You wouldn't talk to me the first time I came to see you, would you? Well, if I had my way, you'd get a minimum of 10 years. Now, tell me the truth. You knew these kids you just served were underage, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
Don't you lie to me.
Let go of me.
Now, listen,
Wait a minute, mister. What makes you so sure he knew one way or another, huh?
Because I've been watching this place, that's why.
Oh, you must be Charles Thompson, huh?
That's right. Who are you?
My name isn't important, but what I'm going to say to you is, it's about that crusade you got going. I left you alone up till now, figured it would soon burn itself out.
What do you mean by we?
You're beginning to stir up too much dust. It's beginning to hurt business, and we're getting just a little bit tired of it.
You keep referring to we. Who do you mean by that?
That's none of your business.
All right. What do you want?
Better stop trying to stir up trouble, mister. You're liable to stir up more than you bargained for.
Now, you listen to me. You killed my daughter. You murdered her. And you've got the gall to stand there and threaten me?
Mr. Thompson, if you know what's good for you, you just
Why,
better call
you
up...
two-bit, tin-horn bum. You can't intimidate me. You can't scare a man after you've taken everything away in his life that's worth living for.
Charles, I want to talk to you.
Okay, I'm listening.
About this crusade of yours.
What about it?
Don't you think maybe you're going just a little bit overboard?
How can you say a thing like that?
Well, you're gone all hours of the night. You've let things slide at the office. It's becoming an obsession with you. Frankly, I'm worried.
Worried? About what?
What happened in that bar this afternoon after you're telling me, how can I help but be worried? Charles, I want you to stop this before it's too late. It's just getting all out of balance.
Oh, no, it isn't. Oh, no. No, it's all in balance. Margaret, listen to me. There's only one thing that matters to me. That's to find the man responsible for what happened to Betty. Now, Margaret, I'm going to find him if it's the last thing I ever do.
It might well be. Charles, don't you see? Life has to go on. You can't just live in the one dimension of revenge.
Life has to go on, you say. Why? What's the purpose? No. No, if it wasn't for you, I'd have no reason to go on living. There's nothing left for you and me, Margaret. No child. No chance of having grandchildren. Well, somebody's going to pay for what they've done to us.
I'll get it. Oh, good evening, Pastor Bell.
Good evening,
Come in.
Margaret. Charles home?
Yes, he's right here.
Thank you. Good evening, Charles.
Good evening, Pastor.
If you'll excuse me, I have a cake in the oven.
Certainly.
In the meantime, why don't you tell Charles about your sermon last Sunday?
Yes, Margaret tells me you preached a wonderful sermon last Sunday.
You know, Charles, one of these days you're going to have to start listening to my sermons yourself. After all, a warmed-over sermon is seldom appetizing. Seriously, I stopped by to see if you could join me tomorrow morning.
So?
Some of the members of the church are getting together for a special breakfast meeting. They want to discuss this problem.
You can certainly count on me.
Good.
Well, what do you think, Pastor? We making progress? Well, we are, aren't we?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt of it.
Yes, even Chief Byer admits that we've almost stopped the sale of alcohol to minors.
Are you completely satisfied with what we've done to date?
I'll never be satisfied until I get my hands on the man I'm looking for.
Do you mind if I say something, quite frankly?
No, go ahead.
Charles, it's one thing to want to do good works because we want a better world or because we have a desire to serve God in any way we possibly can. But it's quite another thing when a man dresses his desires for personal revenge in the robes of community righteousness. It's a very dangerous thing when a man desires to play God.
Just who desires to play God?
Now, Charles, I'm sure that in the eyes of the community, you're doing a good job. I'm just afraid that in the eyes of God, you're sowing from bitterness. It might be well to pay attention to what the Bible tells us. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. This is the word of God, Charles. And in this unpredictable world of ours, it's an unshakable truth.
Pastor, remember what you said about warmed-over sermons?
Sermon or not, it's still the truth. I'm afraid it's getting a little late. I better be running along.
Oh, do you have to go, Pastor?
I'm afraid I do, Margaret. Charles, I'll see you at the breakfast tomorrow. I'll pick you up at 7:30.
I'll be ready.
Good night, Charles.
Good night.
Well, good night, Pastor Bell.
Good night, Margaret.
Wonderful man, Pastor Bell.
Yeah. I think he gets a little too personal sometimes.
Oh?
He was just telling her that even though I am doing good work, it doesn't count. I don't have the right motives.
And you don't know what he meant.
All right, Margaret. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, maybe I do know what he means. Let me tell you something. I just wish that some guy, just a year ago, could have got up on his ear and started a campaign like this. Our daughter might still be alive today.
But Charles, is that the right way to look at it? Shouldn't we just accept it as God's will and go on from there?
Margaret, honey, it's been a rough day. Let's not make it any worse. You know, I think I'd like a drink. Is there any mixer in the refrigerator?
I don't know. I'll see. Charles. What happened? Dear Dad, surprise, Bud and I are going to celebrate tonight. We took a bottle of your private stock. We hope you won't mind. Love, Betty.
This is the Answer is brought to you with a sincere desire that it will make a contribution to your spiritual life. And to this cause is dedicated to the glory of God. This booklet contains the Bible's answers to some of life's most perplexing questions. It will prove to be an invaluable guide to you as you seek to live a more abundant life. For your free copy, write to This is the Answer, Fort Worth, Texas. This is the Answer, Fort Worth, Texas. And now here's a preview of next week's presentation.
I wish you'd told him no right away. You're being the editor of a newspaper's, well, it's a great trust, and
$25,000 is a lot of money. You know, to a lot of people, $25,000 would be the chance of a lifetime. And you can't forget that a great editor like Mr. Todd couldn't make a go of this paper. Who knows? Maybe they don't want a better city. Maybe we've mortgaged our home and spent our savings for what?
This series is being presented by the Baptist Churches of North America as a part of their Jubilee Advance celebration, heralding a heritage of 150 years of organized Baptist witness in America to the saving power of Christ.